Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, the Honorable, the first supervisor, Ma'am Dr. Sri Wahyuni, SSM Com MA PhD, the Honorable second supervisor, Ma'am Dr. Nyimastriana Safitri, SPD MED SD, the Honorable the first reviewers, Sir Dr. Andas Marzul Hidayat MA PhD, the Honorable the second reviewers, Mr. Edi Haryanto, SPD MSc, ED MMP PhD. Let me introduce myself. My name is Andika Joshua. Today, I would like to present my thesis proposal that entitled Teachers' Perception Toward English Learning During COVID-19 Pandemic. This thesis proposal, there is 3 chapters. The first chapter is Introduction. The second is Review of Related Literature. And then the third is Research Methodology. For chapter 1, Introduction. Background of the research. So the problem of this research is online learning system. The new learning system for the teacher right now. Using online learning system is due to the spread of the coronavirus, which is increasingly dangerous. Online learning is still considered as a new breakthrough in teaching and learning activities. And because teachers and students do not need to attend to the schools or the classroom. However, with the sudden arrival of the COVID-19 pandemic, the education sector in Indonesia needs to follow the path if it can help school condition in an emergency. Schools need to force themselves to use online learning system right now. According to Jacob in 2013, online learning is as effective as traditional classroom learning. It is good or not belong to the quality of online instruction. If a course is well designed and well implemented, students will learn more than a poorly designed course. Actually, online learning also have many types of problem because online learning is a learning system that utilize technology. The first is not all the teachers and students are expert in the use of technology. It can be the one of the barriers for teachers or students to carry out teaching learning activity. And then for the device using device on online learning activities like cell phones or notebook, laptop, must be expensive one. We know that in Indonesia, there are still many areas whose economy can be categorized as not guaranteeing to buy this device. So, and the last problems in online learning in internet connection. In Indonesia, internet connections is still uneven in that some areas do have a fast connection, but some areas don't. So it can also interfere with the process of learning activities while online. And then for the research question in this thesis proposal, the first is, what are teachers' perception toward English learning during COVID-19 pandemic? Second research question is, what strategies are used by the teachers to teaching English using learning during COVID-19 pandemic? The significance of the research. The first is to provide information about teachers' perception on English learning process during COVID-19 pandemic. And then to give support and complement about the use of e-learning for English learning process. And as a guidance or source of information to apply a learning and learning process, and what strategies are used to teach by the teachers using learning as media for learning process. We come to the second chapter is review of related literature. The first is online learning, perception. Perception is the process by which individuals sense, select, organize, and interpret information to frame subjectively important image of the world so as to identify, retrieve, and respond to the information. The explanation is according to Broadbent 2018. And then the teacher's perception can be defined as the teacher's way of understanding or interpreting the learning process. And then learning. According to Arendt on 2007, learning is a social and cultural activity in which students construct meaning which is influenced by the interaction between previous knowledge and new learning events. And then in learning, there is also a media for learning process. According to Erlina in 2009, media of learning is support simulation material or a program that used by the teachers for helping in learning process. Then online learning is education program that take place via internet. It's often referred to as e-learning among other terms. However, online learning is just one type of distance learning, a generic term for any learning that takes place across distance and not in the classroom as usual. According to Han 2005, online learning refers to delivering learning material to anyone, anywhere, and anytime using various technologies in an open learning environment, flexible and distributed. In online learning system, there is also advantage or disadvantage of using this. The advantage of online learning is the first is it's more easier to absorb. It means that to use multimedia facilities in the form of an image and then text, animations, and also video. So it's more interesting for the students to learn the material, and then it's more effective in the course. Meaning that it doesn't need to any structure. There's no need for a minimum of hearings, can be anywhere and so on. And the third is it is more consist. I mean that it doesn't contain a lot of class formality directly into subjects that are suitable for need. And then the fourth is available in 24 hours per day. It's mean mastering in the material depending on the spirit, and also the absorption the students can be monitored, can be tested with e-test. Then for the disadvantage of online learning, the first is poor communication. Why poor communication? Because there is no interaction between the teachers and the students directly, and the lack of motivation, because some students maybe they have no more motivation in a learning system because it can be called board system learning. And then the third is the lack of quality. In the quality of the education will be dropped because we as a teacher we cannot directly monitor the students. For the study, the first one is from Bagas Andika Putra in 2020 with the research entitled English Teachers' Perception on English Teaching Difficulties Using Online Platform During COVID-19 Pandemic at SDIT RRA1B216012 Surakarta in 2020 and 2021 academic years. The participant of this research was the English teachers at SDIT RRA1B216012 Surakarta. This research used qualitative descriptive method and used interview for collecting the data. The technique used by the researchers for analyzing was hermeneutic phenomenological. The result of this study are the teachers used some application for learning process, and there were some problem is come out from the teachers in teaching using online platform. The second is from Muhammad Muzaffar Hussain in 2021 with the research entitled English Language Teaching Through Virtual Classroom During COVID-19 Pandemic, Lockdown in Bangladesh, Challenge and Propositions. The participants of this research were 50 teachers and 50 students studying English as core course or a subject of the syllabus. This research used qualitative method and has two different questionnaires with open-ended questions, one for teachers and one for students for collecting the data. The technique used by the researchers for analyzing was exploratory method of data analysis that consists of the task extracting important variable. For the result of this research, the researchers found that teachers and students continue to carry out the teaching and learning process through online. However, there are still some problems that come out from online learning system. The third chapter is research methodology. The research design, the type of this research is qualitative research with an interview for collecting the data. According to Frankel and Wallen in 2007, state that qualitative research is a research studies that investigate the quality of relationships, activities, situations, or materials of the object. For the research settings, this research will be conducted at Junior High School 14, Jambi City. For the participant of the research are all the English teachers in Junior High School 14, Jambi City. There are 6 teachers. For the time used by the researcher for this research was conducted in the 8th semester of the 2021 and 2022 academic years. 2021-2022 academic years. For of data collection, the researchers use interview for collecting the data. For the list of interview, the researchers adapt the question for interview from Tari's interview in 2020, which was used in her study, and the researchers add some questions that related to research question in this study. For the participants will answer the questions by using Indonesian language, and after that, the researcher will transcribe the answer from the participant to English. The technique of data collection. There is 3 stages for technique data collection. The first is transcription. The interview results, which is already recorded in the form of audio files, has been transcribed manually from the researchers. Then the researchers listen the audio recorded carefully and put into a computer file. After that, the second stage is coding and categorizing. In this stage, after transcribes, researchers read and explore the transcription. In this stage, the researchers will give label to every single relevant word, phrase, sentence, or even sections. However, not every single output interview can code or labeling, but the most relevant will be coded. And the third stage is grouping and integration of categories. In this stage, the categories that resembles group and create broader title that include related information from some categories. In this stage, sorting was done by cutting out the record or quote transcript of the interview. After all this stage, I mean transcription, coding, categorizing, and grouping and integration of categories, the researchers will interpret and summarize the findings. I think that's enough for my presentation today. And I'm very sorry if there is a mistake in spoken. And last, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.